Today I'll be showing us how I create birthday e-cards and designs in Photoshop. Trust me, it's a very simple thing to do. It's a very simple thing, but you'll be surprised at the kind of results you're going to get. So first of all, let's create a new file, and then I'll change the unit of measurement to pixels, and I'll use a 1080 by 1080 so that we can have a square shaped document. And then every other thing will be default, and then just hit create. That's the way I like arranging my workspace, so I'll just do that quickly. I'll drag my layers here, and then let's start by importing our image. So you open the folder, and then you drag in the images. Now, notice that I did not drag the image here, because if I drag the image here, it's going to appear inside this document, which I don't want at the time. So I will drag it somewhere outside the document, so somewhere here, and it's going to open a new document. So we'll do that with the second image. So you can see it opened as a new document. So now let's remove the background from this image. So I'll start by unlocking the layer, and then maybe you scroll down the properties panel and you'd see remove background. So once you do that, Photoshop will analyze the image and remove the background. So you can right click and convert that to a smart object. And then you can drag that into your design document. Add it to your design document. So we have to adjust this image. So you hit Ctrl T to activate the transform controls, and then you can scale it down. You can scale it down. And I think that's okay. So let's have our backgrounds. So for my style of birthday designs, I like using a lot of fantasy and mystery background. So it's going to have this fantasy kind of feel. And I think I downloaded one. So I'm just going to drag it in here. And then scale it up. And scale it up. So now for my kind of designs, I like applying a lot of physical principles. By that I mean, if you have studied a little about the principles of photography, I think you should know what is called depth of field, where when you take a picture, you see that everything that is not in focus is blurred out. So I like applying that principle to my designs to help the viewer focus on the sharp images in the design. So I'm going to add a blur to this background. So we go to filter and add Gaussian blur. So I'm just going to add that. Let's try 3 or 4. I think 4 is okay. So just click OK. So the next thing we're going to do is to write or add a happy birthday text. So now when you're creating designs, you have to know the kind of fonts you have to use. Know the right fonts to use. It's important that you use the right combination of fonts. So for this design, I'm going to use a lot of long fonts. So let's just start with typing birthday. So hit Ctrl T and then scroll it, and then change the text color to white, and then I'll use this 6 caps font, 6 caps regular. Ctrl T and then rescale it. So now you can also activate your rulers to help guide you, or you can activate some guides. So if you want to add guides, you can go to view and go to guides and new guide layout. So you can now set your guide. So for the columns, I just want 2 columns. I don't need any gutter. Set gutter to 0. Can activate your rows, 2 rows as well. Then for the gutter, it's 0. Click OK. So this helps us organize our documents. If you want to do this manually, you can just click Ctrl R to activate the ruler bar, and then you can just from here drag out some guides and the rest, whichever one is convenient for you. So we can go ahead with the design. Now, one of the major principles of design is to keep things simple and minimal. So we are not going to add too much. We're just going to make this design with just this picture. So you can add your happy text. So I'll just duplicate this. Right click, duplicate layer, and click OK. Then hit Ctrl T on your keyboard and scale it down. Can drag it up, and then select your text tool and edit. So you're going to type happy. So now you can ensure that your text is centralized. So it's good to check your alignments. So now let's continue. We're already having an amazing result. So with just a background, an image and text, it's already looking amazing. So let's make it a lot more interesting. So what we're going to do next is to add some other elements in front to like boost up the depth of field principle, like I explained earlier. So we're going to add this. It's just a simple flower. You can scale that down. Again, it's also looking amazing behind the image, but that's the way I want it to be actually. I'll bring it somewhere fully and drag it upwards. Then I'll drag click and duplicate. Then Ctrl T to select, and then drag it to the other side. So you can adjust this as well. So now let's add blur. We can come here. Since we used blur earlier, it's here. You can see the shortcut Alt Ctrl F. You can just click it and it's going to you can adjust the blur level. Let's use 3. If I think that's okay. So we can just copy the filter from this main. So just hold Alt and drag the filter to this other layer, and it applies the filter immediately. Let's continue. So we're already having a very amazing results, but you can see that there are a lot of bright objects in the image, which might be very distracting for the viewer, and some colors that are just flashing, and we have to adjust that. So we can reduce the brightness of this flowers we added in front. So we can just use the curve adjustments. So I'll go to image, I'll go to adjustments, I'll go to curve. So I'll just reduce the curve a little bit. So in the same way, I can just copy the curves adjustment to the other layer. So it's just a tiny adjustment. So for this, you can see that we can't see some parts of this text because of some lighting in the background and the rest. So let's try adding a black and white filter. So you add a black and white adjustment rather. So I think this is nice. Can hit auto. We can reduce the red to rotate and click OK. So, but if you like it this way, you can just go ahead. It's not you must not do it like this. So, but for me, I prefer this. So now our results are becoming outstanding. So let's add a few more elements like the name and the date of birth, or the birthday date, whichever one. So let's add her name. So I can draw a rectangle. So now, when you're creating designs, it's important to understand the principles of design, or else you just do things because you know how to use the software and you just make some mistakes that you're not supposed to make. So now, I would like to apply the principle of repetition. So that means you should repeat some elements in your design, maybe colors, shapes, text, and any other element to help create a sense of balance. So I'm going to use this purple color so that it's going to give you that. So you can just come here, come to your fill, click this. So once you bring this out, it turns to an eyedropper. So if your caps lock is on, it looks like this. So whenever I see like this, just turn off your caps lock and it looks like this. But it still has the same function anyways. So you can just pick the color and let it make your own adjustments and click OK. I think I still want my case just before it. So let's select the exact fade for this looks better. So we can add a stroke, and I think the stroke should be white. You can increase the stroke size to 2, or let's go with 3. Then you can add a drop shadow, just a very simple drop shadow. Can increase the opacity, just something simple. So now, there is a way I centralize my elements. So let's say this was out of place and I want to centralize it. I'll just press Ctrl A and it will create this, it would select the entire aspect ratio of the document. So these lines are called matching arms. So it's going to just give you this matching arms outline. So once you do that, with the move tool selected, you'll see this align options up here. So you can just select this align horizontal centers. So it just snaps to your elements to the center. So you can press Ctrl D to deselect. So now let's add her name. So you can add the name there. So now I'm going to change the font to Israel. You can search for these fonts online and download them. So you can see that our text is, let me bring it down here. You can see that our text is left aligned. So you can just scroll down to the paragraph panel and click center text. So it's going to make it a center paragraph text or center arrangement. It's going to give it that center arrangement. So you can do the same thing I did earlier. Ctrl A, align horizontal centers, and it does the job. So I think the space in between the grace and the nugget is too much. So you can just come here and reduce it. And let's go with 6. 6 is too clear. Let's type 7. I'm okay, 7. So Control 0 to go back to the original size. So let's say you want to, I've been doing a lot of zoom in and zoom out because I'm using an external mouse. So if you want to zoom in, you just hold the Alt key on your keyboard and scroll the mouse wheel to zoom in and zoom out. So look, there's a zoom tool over here, and the shortcut is Z. You can just select the zoom tool and zoom in and zoom out and go back to the move tool. So you can hit Control 0 to fit the document into the workspace. So now what next? This is okay, this is cool. We've not added the thing. Let's see, what's today's date? At the time of recording this video, the date was 31st August. So we can write it like this. And then I can just select the ST and you can go to your type options and select superscript. So that makes it a superscript. Then I think you can make this bold or Control T, reduce it to this. So now looking at that, then it's not so visible. So let's apply the principle of repetition again. Let's draw another rectangle. Right, yeah. So you can just add some of that, take it down, and then repeat the color we used earlier. And then you can turn off the stroke if you want to. You can see that this looks better. And maybe you can add some drop shadow. Yeah, you can edit it perfectly. So we are making progress. So now looking at this, you can use it like this. Like this looks very colorful. If you're cool with this, your design is done. So I would like to add some other elements. So I can close these other creates. So there's another picture here. If you like using more than one picture, you can just let's remove the background first. Remove background. Convert to a smart object. You can just drag it and add it. Control T, scale it down. Put it quite close. Then take it below this mirror. You can add that. So you can have that, and then maybe you can add another image here to like balance things. So because one of the principles I like applying to my designs is to ensure that everything looks balanced. So because there is one picture here, it's looking somehow. So if you have more than one picture, or even with just this picture, it depends on how you arrange your picture. You can arrange your design in such a way that another picture is up here. So it all depends on your arrangement. Here is still nice. So there's nothing, you can have more pictures in this, but I'll just delete this layer. So let's continue. So I'll close mode, and then let's import some light. Let's add some light. So I'll drag it here. So I would use this red light. So I'll just select the rectangular marquee tool, create a selection, right click and layer via chords. So I'm just going to drag this into this document. To Control T to adjust. So you can right click. Let's turn off our image layer first for a moment. So you can right click, duplicate layer. Or you can use the shortcut for duplicating, that's Control J. But if you just hit Control J, it can duplicate your layer. So I'll just delete the silver ones. And then click and hit Control T on the keyboard, right click and flip horizontal, and then you can drag it this way. So you can zoom in to see. So you can as well merge this layer, so you can just select them, right click. So to select more than one layer, you hold Control. So you can select more layers as you click. So if you want to select a whole lot of layers at the same time, you select the first one, go to the last one, hold Shift, and just select everything. So we're just going to select these two, right click, and merge layers so it becomes a single layer. So now let's change the blend mode to screen. Let's add this. Let's bring this on top. Change the blend mode to fade as well. So Control T. We can reduce it so that the effect is minimal. Control J to duplicate. Control T. We can add on this other side as well. Or maybe we can do something like this. And do something like this. And maybe still duplicate it to this other side. Or we can put this up. So to drag this around, you just hold the space bar. It's the shortcut for the hand, so you hold down the space bar and you click and drag. So this is the hand tool, so it helps you drag things around. Press Control 0 to fit to the document frame. So now, like I said earlier, you can see that these areas are not so visible unless you zoom. So you can just select create a new layer first, then create a new layer, then select your brush tool, increase the brush size. So now when you see that it's not showing, check your caps lock. If your caps lock is on, boom, turn it off. So my caps lock is now turned up, like announced in my brush type. Ensure that your hardness is 0. Now ensure that your foreground color is black. You can reduce the opacity of the brush to like 30 or 25 or somewhere around there. You can just add a little so that your text stands out. So this is before and this is after, so that it can, in as much as you're trying to ensure that your design is beautiful, also ensure that it's legible and your text is easy to read. So I think I would like to balance this light on this side, so I'll duplicate this layer. Maybe I can reduce max a little. Now you can see it's just simple. I did not even use so much layers. So now maybe you can start grouping your layers. You can group your layers, select this tool as background, Control G. You can name it, you just double click and you name it background. Then what next? Can we just try to Alt plus. You can select all of this ones, Control G, and move where so that everything is in one area. Then you can just in the same way arrange every other element. So you can still put this, or the other way to do it, after selecting, just drag them to this folder icon. So you can name this, what should we call it? Let's name it foreground, or what should I call it now? Let's just give it a random name. That's so you can still create a folder for the form. Control G. Then double click the name. I'll call this name, and then I can delete the layout as well. That's the default background layer, so I have my background. So for this background, you can, let's see, if I have the black and white, is this. Anyway, this looks cool and beautiful. You can go with this as well, because I can get the this for me. There's nothing wrong with the other one, but I just don't get the fit. I think let's add a stroke to this guy. Yeah, I think it looks better now. So I think that's it. So if you can add any other elements, maybe a little write-up or a birthday wish or any other thing you can add, but ensure you maintain that balance. So we can close this and then export or save. So you can go to file, save. You can save as a PSD file and go to desktop. You can save as a PSD file. Let's see, birthday. Save as a PSD file. Or you can export as an image. You can export as an image. So if it's like this, you can just come in, drag it down, and then export. Save it. So now it becomes an image which you can now share and post online. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching.